All right. Well, I wanted to welcome everyone to DES 105. This is Page Layout Tools. We are now in week 3, so congratulations. We've now made it a little more than half of the way. So yay, for better or for worse, we're almost done with the mod. Wanted to kind of get a feel for how everyone's doing. Welcome, Alexandra. Thanks for coming in. Thanks, Courtney, for joining us, and everyone who is joining me via the recording. I'm Mrs. Woodland, and I wanted to welcome you guys to our shared learning experience. I'll go ahead and just start the video and briefly introduce myself, say hello, welcome to class. We're going to be designing today, and we're going to be talking about how to do week 3's assignment, and we're going to talk about the discussion and assessment 3. And we're going to learn how to troubleshoot a little bit. I know that some people are still trying to get the hang of packaging and zipping files, but I just wanted to welcome you guys to class. So thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I know it takes effort to be here, and it takes time. So thank you for coming. Hey, Deborah, thanks for joining us. Debbie, I see you might be signed in twice, but
Yeah,
I'm glad.
I did. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Thanks for coming. We're glad you're, I'd rather have you twice than not at all, right? Thanks, Teresa, for coming in. So I'm just glad that everyone is here, and I am going to be opening up the first couple minutes to questions. I know that a lot of you might have some questions about previous assignments. Maybe you're getting stuck at a certain point, and I'd love to have you share your screen, and we'll troubleshoot and go over these things, because as we start nearing the end of the mod, I think it's really important that we get on top of the problems and kind of make sure we get those fixed so that we can be smooth sailing from here on out. So I'll go ahead and open up the floor to anyone who has questions. If you want to just put in the chat box, whoever's first, I'll unmute your mic and then you can talk, and we can go over your trouble spots, and then we'll jump right into lecture. So does anyone have any questions? I know, Courtney, you had a question about zipping files. So if you want to go ahead and share your screen, I'll close out of my slides real quick. And if you wanted to share your screen, Courtney, and we'll talk a little bit about zipping files. So Courtney was so nice to allow me to use her computer as a demonstration, so we'll use that. No worries, Teresa. I'm glad you're here. All right, Courtney, so if you don't mind hitting that share screen icon, I'll go ahead and unmute your mic. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm trying to find, like, how do I share my screen?
Yeah, so don't worry. It's just the two, it looks like two windows with pyramids. If you hover over it, it should say share screen. And anyone who has shared a screen before, if you can help her out. I'm not sure what it looks like on the other end. I just see it on mine. Oh, perfect. And then pick whatever you want to share. So your desktop or your InDesign, perfect. Okay, so your question, Courtney, was how do you zip files? Are you trying to package it?
Yes, I'm trying to package it.
Are those your girls? They're beautiful.
Oh yes. I'm in the InDesign app. I don't know if y'all can see it.
Yep,
Yes,
we
that's
can
my
see
daughters.
Happy Mother's Day, belated Mother's Day to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're
Yeah, it just
welcome.
went by real fast.
It does. Okay. Mom should get more than one day a year. Okay, so hit package.
Okay.
I'll just step you through the process. So you're going to get a lot of pop-up boxes. You've already named it. Or is this assignment 2? So go ahead and change it to assignment 2 there instead of assignment 1. This isn't important. You could actually just continue and not worry about this. This is if you were sending it to a printer, though, so you'd want to enter that information. Just good to get in habit. And then find a place where you're going to save it and remember where to find it. So if it's on your desktop or if you have a special folder for it, whatever.
I probably have to make another folder. I have so many of the same assignment. Let's see.
So this is going to be assignment 2.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. And then you're going to, down here, change the PDF preset right where your mouse is, just down below. Go down below that drop-down menu. See where it says high quality print? You're going to want to change that to smallest file size. Now, if you were sending it to a printer, you obviously would want the high quality print, but because it's just to me, the smallest file size will be a quick upload for you and a fast download for me. So you'll hit open, everything looks good. And then package, if this is what you want the folder to be named as, if you're okay with that. And then it will do its thing. So what packaging does, class, is it's taking all the fonts you're using, all of the images you're using off of your computer, because you might have them saved in various places, and it's putting it in one nice little packaged folder for us. So you're sending it to me because I might not have the fonts you're using, and I might not have the images that you're using. So when you send me a package folder, it puts it all in the same place so that I can see what it is that you designed. Because what happens if you send a file to me and I don't have those fonts or those images, it's going to default and either look blank, or it's going to use a font that it thinks that you're trying to pull, and it's going to throw off the design. So I want to be able to see what you're doing. So that's why we package. Okay, so go to the folder that you created. So was it DES?
I thought I sent it to my desktop, but I don't see it on there.
DES, you could do a search. It was DES105 assignment 2. Oh, you know what? I thought I saw the InDesign file. Look at the date, modified 2, because it will tell you that was the most recent. You might have to, I thought it was just assignment 2. I don't think you had anything after that. Is that right? You can even scroll down if you don't see it, but I think the most recent one's up top. So maybe just type in DES, yeah, assignment 2. It's at the bottom. So it does look like you have your InDesign here. Did you remember where we saved? Let's see. Oh, go back. I think I saw it. So you have a 105 assignment 2 green 2 folder. Is that it? That was created at 105, and that was an older one.
Fighting with it.
Tell you what, let's save it.
Go back in and see.
Yeah, let's save it to the desktop so that we can. Oh, well, I see something.
Okay.
Yeah, try it again. Let's save it to the desktop so we can find it.
Okay. Where did it go? Okay, desktop.
There you go.
So strange. Maybe it's in there. Oh, it was in there. Okay.
Oh, got it. Okay, so it's in a folder. Why don't you just drag it out? Or can you drag it out? You probably can't drag it out on a PC. Yeah. Can you?
Okay. So drag it to my documents?
Wherever you remember to find it easiest. Okay. So if it's hiding in a folder, you probably want to make sure we have it.
Desktop.
Probably, okay. Yeah, that might be perfect. I didn't know you could drag on a PC. That's cool. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so it's the one at the bottom. Awesome. Okay, so now just go to your desktop. So once you've packaged the file, go to your desktop. And then PCs are a little different. It's not that one. Go to your, is that the folder? No, go to your desktop. If you click on desktop. And then go to your folder DES105. Down a little bit. Down, down, down. You've got a lot of copies. Yeah, that's the one that you just created. Okay. So if you open it and then right click on it. Oh wait, that's not the right one, is it?
It says 9:35 p.m. This is the correct one.
That is, okay, okay. So then go out to your folder. You should be able to right click on the folder. So you're sending me the entire folder with all of those things. So can you right click on it and then go to send to at the bottom there, send to, and then compress. So what that's going to do is it's going to compress the entire folder. So it's going to have all the links and the fonts in there. So that's the zipped file. That's the one that you're going to send to me.
Okay, so just go back to this.
Yeah, so that zipped file is what you're going to submit to me. So I'm going to end your share so you can have some privacy logging in. But okay. Yeah, that way the class doesn't see login information and whatnot. But
okay.
I'll let you submit it. Yeah, no problem. Just let me know if that works out for you.
Okay, I will.
Thanks, Courtney. Great question. Okay, so let's move on. Anyone else have any questions? Are you guys getting stuck anywhere? This is the time to do it. You've got my attention. Got the time. If not, that's no problem. I'm sure questions will arise as we move on. So I will move forward. If anything comes up, though, please feel free to message me. Okay, guys, so welcome to week 3. We did our introduction. We're going to be learning about 3 important things today. One is how to lay out master pages. We're also going to learn how to use what's called the baseline grid. And we're also going to be setting up, learning how to import our style sheet. So remember we talked a lot during week 2's discussion about style sheets, paragraph styles, and character styles, and we learned the difference between the two, and I showed you a demo of how to create them. So now that you've learned how to use them and how to create them, we're going to learn how to import them. You can save them in your InDesign, and you can import them into another InDesign document. So I'm going to show you that. That's you'll be graded on how to do that as well. So those are some important things. We're also going to be talking about the elements of design. We're going to be talking a lot about this in week 3. So we learned about principles. The principles. Does anyone remember what those principles are? It's an acronym, and there's 4 of them. Can anyone name the 4 that we discussed in week 2? The 4 principles of design? Proximity. Excellent, Courtney. Thank you. Proximity. Yeah, and that's how close or how far or spread out elements are on a page. So if something is really close together, you might assume they're grouped together because they belong together. But if they're spread out and there's a lot of space between them, there's going to be a disconnect. So you'll assume that they are not together. So proximity is important. Alignment, contrast, and repetition. Thank you for throwing those other 3 out for me. So we talked a lot about what those 4 are. We'll talk a little bit more about how it applies to design today, but and then we'll get into the elements of design. So I think I'm going to save the elements of design for the second half of class. I want to get into the design portion of this class first. So we'll kind of skip ahead here. Little preview. We've done questions. Good job, Debbie. Yep, the CRAP. So if your design does not have that, it will look like crap. So make sure you have contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. All right, let's talk about our discussion a little bit. So for this week's discussion, you have a website to visit. And you're going to look through menu art that's displayed there. You're going to choose an example that illustrates either the powerful or poor use of the elements of design. So we talked about principles. Now the elements are a little bit different. They're actually elements that you use in design. So like lines, we use frames, we use texture and color, value and shape in our layouts. And so we're going to be talking and discussing about this. I want you guys to go into the discussion because I just checked about an hour ago and no one has posted anything. So while you're in class, I want you to do me a favor and just go into the discussion and just post something. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be your initial long post. That won't be due till tomorrow. But go post so you can stay active because this is how I take attendance. So as long as I see you're being active, you can get points for it, okay? So just make sure that you go in and comment. So if you're bored hearing me talk, go in there and log in and do something with the time. But I want to make sure that everyone gets posted. Wednesday is the deadline for your initial post. All posts need to be a minimum of 150 words, okay? I've been a little bit lenient on the word count, but the college checks up on me, and so I do need to kind of start being a stickler about it. So make sure that you discuss it. Use the terminology we're learning in class. Heck, you could even use my slides. Take the information off my slides and post it. I just want to make sure that you guys are processing this information, okay? And this is to help you in the discussion, all right? All right, and then I have a question here. Can we go someplace else to find one? To find, to find what, Debbie? Oh, to find a menu design? Absolutely. Yeah, I don't care where you find your source as long as you cite it. Yep, to find a menu, absolutely. This is just a quick go-to if you don't want to be searching the internet for menu designs. This is just a quick way to grab one. Yeah, great question. Great question. Absolutely. So even while we're talking, go find a menu design and just start talking about these things. Okay, so let's talk about the assessment. So I don't know if you were enjoying the quizzes lately for assessment 1 and 2, but there's good news. Week 3, we do not have a quiz, so that's good. And I'm kind of happy too because you can try your hand at some more graphic design. So this week we're going to have 2 design assignments. Assessment 3 will be a postcard design. So if you don't have style sheets, one of the requirements for this assignment or this assessment is to import style sheets from your previous layout. If you don't have style sheets set up, or maybe that was something you didn't get points for the week prior, there is a file, and I'm going to show you on my screen so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to close out the screen real quick. I'm going to go to my internet. Can you all see my screen okay? Everything clear? All right, so we're going to go to assignments for discussion 3, or assessment. Let's go to the assessment. Okay, awesome. All right, so we're going to scroll down here, and down here at the bottom, I'm going to highlight it. Download this sample document. This is only if you do not have style sheets set up, or if you want to use these style sheets instead of your own. It's completely up to you. If you want to save time, maybe just download the sample document. So what you're going to do is simply click on it, and it will go to your downloads folder. And then I will show you what to do when you pull it up in InDesign. So I want everyone to click on it just for practice. We're going to practice this in about 5 minutes. So click on it and have it downloaded, so you already have one step done. This downloading this zip file includes text for the page 2 of the postcard, so all the text is given to you. The zip file also contains assets to complete the assessment. So if you did not complete your menu where you would get all of the other content from the instruction steps above, this is where you can download it, okay? So by clicking it, it will download to your downloads folder, and that's where you can access it. All right, I'm going to step you through how to set up this document. So if everyone would please get InDesign open, give me a thumbs up or a yes or a okay, I'm ready, just so that I know that everyone has it up. I'll just wait till I see that in the message box. So what your assignment is in the next 5 minutes is to get these 2 links downloaded onto your computer, know where you saved them or know where they're going, and then open InDesign so that we can all set up our assessment 3 together, okay? And we'll go over how to import style sheets. So this will be our first design tutorial during this lecture for the first hour. Okay, then next is the assignment. So I'm going to close, well, I won't close out. We'll just go to assignment 3. Now each assignment has its own set of requirements, so please make sure you check the prompt very carefully, and then you can check the rubric to make sure that you know exactly what you're going to be graded on. All right, assignment 3, it kind of seems like it's a little bit more labor intensive, but the good news is they give you most of this information. It's just going to be about alignment, and it's going to be about placement and how to kind of copy a layout, so to speak. So we are only, and I repeat, only doing page 1 and 2. This is a 4-page assignment that will be done next week. We'll do the last half during week 4. But please don't, I mean, if you want to be a go-getter and do all 4 pages, that's great. But please be aware, for this assignment for week 3, we are only doing 2 of the 4 pages, okay? You will create a 4-page document, but we are only designing 2 of the 4. So that means the last 2 pages will be blank when you submit your assignment. Yes. Well, good question, Teresa. The sample on the assessment page, I don't think they have a sample for the assessment. There are 2 links to download, though. There is a sample document. This one is what will have your style sheets. Yeah, so the sample is on the assessment page right here. You see this link? So what this is it's just going to have your style sheets. All right, and then you're going to have a download link with a zip file here with the text. Yeah, so we are on assessment 3, the postcard assessment. Okay, don't get them confused. And then on week 3, this is the newsletter. So we're on the assignment 3, and this is our newsletter, which also has a downloadable folder here at the bottom. And this package file includes your logo, the words for the copy, the photographs, style sheet specifications. You're going to have to set up style sheets and then graduation ad and et cetera, et cetera. So it gives you all the materials. You're just going to have to place them on the page. So not too bad, right? It seems a little bit more intimidating. Does that answer your question, Teresa? So there are 2 design assignments this week. Assignment 3 is the newsletter. Assessment 3 is the postcard, and both will have a downloadable link that you can click on to get the files and the style sheets. Yes, that's right, Teresa. There are 2 links to click on under the Assessment 3. One has your style sheets that you're going to import. The other one has the text that is going to go on the postcard. So you don't have to provide any text. Please don't ad-lib more text. Just use what's provided, okay? Awesome. Those are good questions. Yep, no problem. It's kind of confusing because we're not used to having 2 design assignments. So this is the first week where we actually have 2 design assignments. Any other questions? I like your questions, guys. All right, and then give me a smiley face if you already have InDesign up. Okay, Alexandra's ready. She's ready to go. Okay. We are going to also learn, okay, so for the assignment here, the goal is to match the layout, okay? Let's see, I see someone's got a video set up. We're going to close out your video, Courtney, there. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the goal is to match the layout that's given to you. There's an example, and you're going to be copying the example. Now, I've had some students take the example and place it in the InDesign document. You don't need to do that, but if you need to, that's fine. Just don't pass it off as your own work. Obviously, I will know. But I just want you to be able to take the specs and set up the baseline grid, and we're going to learn how to do these things in InDesign. So without further ado, I wanted to go over the steps of the baseline grid before I jump into it. So we'll go over this after I show you how to import the style sheets and set up your assessment 3. So let's go to InDesign. Let me pull mine up real quick. And make sure you have the specs in front of you on the home page if you can. That'll make it a lot easier so you see what I'm seeing. All right, guys, so I'm gonna bring this in. Perfect. Okay, so let's start by setting up our document. First thing you need to do is go to where? Well, how do we set up a document? You go to File, right? Create New, exactly. Then go to Document. So File, New Document. Or if you're on a Mac, you can hit Command N. If you're on a PC, Control N is a quick keyboard shortcut. Okay, then you'll get a new document panel open. And my computer has a lot of lag when it runs Zoom, so I apologize for the wait. All right, so now we've been typically been using 8.5 by 11 as our go-to. We're going to be, first thing you want to do is name it. So this one's going to be, DES105. Go ahead and name it with me. This is assessment 2. First, last name, okay? Then on the width, it's going to be 6 inches. Please make sure that the unit is on inches. The unit of measurement is inches is selected. Sometimes, depending on the software you're using, it could default to picas or to pixels or whatever it is. So just make sure that inches is selected. And then the height is going to be 4.25, so 4¼ inches is what you're doing. Oh, I apologize. Assessment 3, we are on assessment 3. Thank you, Teresa. See, I need you guys to keep me straight. Okay, so we are on assessment 3. This is our postcard design. So with this, and we want obviously we want orientation to be landscape. So 6 and 4¼ What was the height? Yeah, go ahead and pull it up on go to the website under the assessment 3. That way we don't have to repeat. The height, as you can see it on my screen, is 4.25. The width is 6, but please make sure that you're looking at the website. All of that, all the specs are there, okay? And then pages, we will set it up to 2 pages. We're doing the postcard, so we're gonna have a front and a back. Please make sure that you uncheck facing pages. We do not want spreads. So this box here that says facing pages needs to be blank. We'll obviously start on page 1. And then I like to set it up in columns of two columns because it helps me divide content really well. That's up to you. All right, just make sure it has 2 pages. The column gutter and the margins can all stay the same. You don't need to change any of that. And you hit create. So let me know if there's anybody who got stuck on that part. We've already set up the new document. And it should look something like what I have here on my screen. Okay, so yours should look like this. Does everyone's look like this? We feeling good so far? Okay, Teresa, if that happened, so if you click something or you accidentally mess it up, depending on what it is, you can usually go change things later, but if it's specs and dimensions, you might want to just go back and create a new document. So just delete that one and start over. We want to make sure you get it all right. Anything else? Anyone else? Everyone good to go? Okay, Debbie, that's a good question. So if you hit escape on your keyboard, make sure Zoom is up. Hit escape and it should minimize your screen so that you can have InDesign and Zoom up at the same time. It's a good question. So Debbie's asking, how do you navigate InDesign and Zoom at the same time? You should be able to minimize your Zoom screen by hitting the escape button at the top left of your keyboard. That should minimize your screen and then you can pull up InDesign and Zoom side by side. Did that work for you, Debbie? Yeah, Teresa, the dimensions are on the course homepage under Assessment 3, so go ahead and pull that up. And you know what? I want to make sure that the bleed was correct, so if we'll go back into the document, let me just double check. Make sure that you have the specs in front of you, okay? As we didn't, I'll set it up one more time. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go into new document. You want it to be 6 by 4 1/4. This is landscape page, 2 pages. Start on page 1. Deselect facing pages. Your bleed needs to be 0.125 inches. And your margins need to be, we didn't do this one, so we're going to go ahead and change it. 0.25 all around. Oop, 0.25 inches all around. There we go. All right, that's the one thing we forgot to do is change the margins. So we want to make sure that's all good to go. All right, and then give it a name and hit create. And it should look like this. Okay. So give me a smiley face if everyone feels comfortable and is at this point. Yeah, Teresa, all those specs are on under Assessment 3. Okay, great, great. So if you go to Assessment 3, all of that information is there. So have your homepage, have your class website up under the Assessment 3, so you know what we're all looking at the same thing. The bleed is 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, no problem. All right, so now, okay, so we're ready to move forward. Now what we're going to do is import the paragraph and character style. So this is the next thing that you're going to be graded on. So it's very simple. We're going to go to Window, the drop-down menu. If you don't already have your styles box up, you're going to select paragraph styles like this. And I'll close out of this box so that we only have one open at a time. So let me know when you're at this point, when you have your styles box up. So click on paragraph styles. So we go to Window, Styles, Paragraph Styles. That's okay, Tracy. You can you don't have to have two columns. Two columns wasn't a requirement. I just like it because it easily divides content. All right. Are we good to move on? Okay, so next, if you look here at the top right of your paragraph styles box, you'll notice this little icon here with 4 lines, 4 horizontal lines. You're going to want to click on that. What that means is there's other options that you can choose from. So if you scroll down to the, let's see, the center here, and you want to go to, I believe it's load paragraph styles. So if you go to load paragraph styles or load all text styles, either one, and then find the week 3 sample style sheets that you downloaded and hit open. And you'll notice that another panel pops up and it has over here the 3 that they've already had set up, okay? So with these already set up, and if you can uncheck if you don't want to import one, but we do need to import them all for this assignment, but this is an option, you know, so you know later on down the road when you're importing different styles, if there's a particular style that you want to omit, you just uncheck it. So check all and then hit OK. And you'll notice here that they were added to my paragraph styles. So I've got body copy and I have headers right here. Kind of cool, right? So let me know if anyone had trouble with that step. So we'll do it one more time. You'll go to, that's okay, I'll do it one more time. So we go to Window, make sure your Styles panel is open. So you can open up character styles or paragraph styles. And then at the top right of your styles panel, you'll notice there's the 4 lines. It's a little icon here with 4 horizontal lines. This just means there's other hidden options. You'll click it, scroll down to load all text styles. Click on the sample sheet that you downloaded earlier from the website, the course homepage. And then, of course, it will have some other styles here. So then hit OK. So we've got character style 1 set up, we've got body copy, and we've got headers. So these are all set up to go. Yeah, so Teresa, remember when we talked about under the assessment 3, there are 2 links that you'll be downloading. If you click on those links, one is a sample document and one is a download link. Click on those 2. The sample document will have style sheets already set up for you. You can choose to open up your own document if you have this, if you want to use the style sheets that you set up last week, or you can use the ones that the class is providing. So it's up to you. Yeah, it's just the links, just the style. You're just importing style sheets, not fonts or anything. All right, how's everyone else doing? Feeling good? Okay, Teresa, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is have you share your screen and I'll step you through it.
Okay.
Because sometimes when I'm moving, I can move kind of fast and it's easy to lose me. So I'll step you through it. I'll put you in the driver's seat. How about that? And what I want you to do is pull up your class website too, because you're going to need that for the specs and you're also going to need it for the links. All right, perfect. So go scroll down to the sample document link.
Okay, I have those 2 downloaded. This
Perfect.
one
Yep,
and this
that
one.
Perfect. Now go to your InDesign. The download link is only for the text that you'll need on page 2, so you won't need that yet. But we do want to use the sample document because that has all the style sheets saved, unless you want to import your own. But I'm showing you how to do it, so you can choose later. So you've got your paragraph styles open. Click on that icon there, the 4 horizontal lines. Go to load paragraph styles or load all text styles. That's fine. And then click on wherever you downloaded it to. Do you have a downloads folder or? Where do things go when you download them? Perfect. Click on sample style sheets and hit open. And then those are the already preset style sheets that are from that document. So you hit OK. You want them all selected, and then they pop up in your own paragraph styles.
Thank you.
That kind of cool, huh? So nifty. All right, perfect. So did you see how she did that? So if you guys are getting stuck at all, just make sure that you, basically you're just trying to locate the link that you downloaded. So does anyone else need some assistance? Okay, Alexandra, do you need some help? All right. Oh, sorry, you meant you got it. Okay, cool. All right, good. So we will move forward. Those are good questions, guys. Stop me if I'm, going too fast. I want to make sure everyone understands. So that's the hard part, is just making sure we can get those character styles in. When you save your document, these will be saved with it, so you won't need to do that every time. But if you have your own file from assignment 2 and you save some style sheets that you'd like to use, you would just do those same steps, except you would use your InDesign document wherever you saved it. Or you can use these preset style sheets if you'd like to use those. All right, let's see where we're at now. We've loaded all text styles. Great, check. Then we're going to double click on our file. We've done that. We've loaded the style sheets. Okay, so the next step is, let's see, we've already imported. Okay, so now we need to place one of the menu item photos from our project on the page. Now we need to fill the space from edge to edge, extending the frame to all bleeds, okay? So we want to utilize a specific photo. So what I want you to do is go grab a photo from your assignment 2, the assignment 2 folder. And here I've grabbed one already, so I'm going to use this one. We'll just put it right in there. But to place it for you, you will grab a rectangle frame tool, and I want it to extend from edge of the bleed line to the other edge of the bleed line, okay? And you'll know you've got your frame placed right when you see that X in the center. You'll go to File, Place, find the photo where you saved it on your computer, whichever photo you want to use, and hit Open. And it will place in there for you, okay? All right, any questions so far? I'll wait for you guys to catch up and place a nice photo. I'm going to probably do two, depending on time, 2 different front cover postcard layouts for the cover, because there's 2 different kinds you can do. One with a busy background like this photo, and you can do one with a very clean background if I were to use the sushi rolls, because that has a white background. My favorite layouts involve white backgrounds, so yeah, so Debbie, just to clarify, part of the requirements on the assignment is to grab a photo from your menu folder. So grab a photo from your menu folder. So whatever photo or whatever restaurant you chose during week 2 and week 1, I want you to pick a photo from that folder. Yes, Teresa, how can I help? I'll go ahead and unmute your mic. All right, so Teresa, did you have a question? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my desktop really quick so that you can see what's going on. I'm going to extend this out, and I'm going to show you. It really would help, guys, if you had your assessment 3 open have this link up because this will answer a lot of questions. That way I don't have to go back and repeat instructions. You know exactly where we are. So we have done all the steps up to this point right here. Okay, so we are now on this section right here. So you need to go grab a photo from your restaurant folder, whatever restaurant you were designing for during the last 2 weeks, you're going to go grab that. So if it was Walk and Roll, or if it was Maxwell's Fine Dining, or if it was Starlight Bistro, you're going to go grab a photo and you're going to place it into your postcard. What we're doing here is we're using, because graphic designers often don't just design one piece of material for a client. They often need multiple types of designs created for them. They need business cards, they need postcards, they need menus, they need a lot of different pamphlets, flyers, whatever it might be. So this is just getting us into the habit of designing more than one piece for a client. That's okay, Teresa. So as long as I thought you had a question, that's fine. So now we're here. So with make sure your website is up, your course homepage is up, and that you're on assessment 3 so you know where we are. So right here, you need to place a photo from your project. Now using your character or paragraph style sheets, I want you to add a headline. So it can be buy one, get one half off on the photo. Now please be aware that photos have a beautiful picture of the food usually, and we don't want to cover that up with text. We want the photo to shine, because what usually gets our mouth watering, right? It's the food when we see it. If we cover it up with a bunch of text, that will defeat the purpose of what this postcard is for. This postcard's supposed to be a way to get us in the door, but if we cover up the item we're featuring, then we're not going to be able to, it's going to counteract the purpose. So right here, I'm going to create like a coupon almost. I like coupons, so that usually grabs my attention, is an easy way for me to recognize a deal. So I'm going to grab a rectangle frame. I'm going to go up here to my strokes. All this information can be found on your drop-down menu here, or you can go to Window and make sure your stroke panel is up, and you can adjust it under the type. Okay, I'm going to do a dashed line. And I'm going to make sure the stroke is fairly thick because I want it to stand out. My background is pretty busy, so whatever I do, it needs to be able to stand out. That might be a little too thick. I don't necessarily need to go that thick. Like that. And it might be a little hard to see where it is. I can even do that. You can make it look like an offer, or I did a little design earlier where I just did a box. Oop. Hang on one second. There we go. So I did a little box and then I put the text on top of it. That's also an idea. I think I put the offer on the back. So for the cover design, you just need minimal elements. You just need your logo. You'll just need the text, buy one, get one half off is kind of the catcher. And then let me pull up a design. I found a design that I really liked on Google. So I like this one. And I thought it would work nice with what we're doing. So see how they have a box here, and then they have their white text on the box. I like the little mint leaf overlapping. That's really cool effect that they did in Photoshop. And then on the back, they had some text on a dark background. So what they're doing is they're using this dark box to be able to have readable text on there. If they were to put text on this busy pasta picture, it would be far too hard to read. So that's kind of what we're doing. All right. So I'm going to go back to the assignment. So are you all with me so far? You have your picture placed? We're good? All right. So now it's just a matter of kind of helping our text stand out, because if I were to put this text, yeah, there we go. on my background, it's going to be a little hard to read. Do you see that? See the white kind of blends in with those chopsticks? It's a little hard to read unless I were to pull it down here. But the offer, you really want to be at the top. I like having the offer at the top. It doesn't have to be. There's a few things you can do. You can grab your rectangle frame, and you can have a bar extend all the way at the bottom here. You can grab your eyedropper tool and maybe grab a nice color. Now, keep in mind that my restaurant is walk and roll. So I want to really maintain the colors that are in the logo. So I'm probably going to grab more of the burnt color. They use black and red a lot, so I could even do that. I can go in there and let's use a red. There we go. And you can have the bar extend all the way to the bottom and turn off my stroke. Or you can lift it up and just kind of have a strip going across the bottom and still maintain that nice wood grain. Some of the picture can be at the bottom there. You can have your offer extend at the bottom. And I'm trying to keep my text box within the magenta margin line. I don't want it to go over it because a lot of times things can get cut off if you were to send it to the printer. So I'm just going to kind of shrink this down, kind of center it. Make sure your smart guides are turned on. I'm going to go to View, Grids and Guides, and make sure smart guides are turned on so that things line up very easily. So this is just a matter of formatting. Now that I have my text, I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go to Headers. Okay. And I'm just going to change the color to white. Oop. Okay. So I can either have my offer here. Now, because I have text in the box, I want to be able to center it in the center of the box. And notice how my smart guides line it up perfectly with the center of the picture and with the center of the red box. Just like that. So I can either have an offer going across, or we can do something like that Italian restaurant and just have kind of a box come down up here, and I can move my offer in this red box. And when I do that, I probably want it, I wouldn't want it really more than 1 or 2 lines long. And to set half off apart, I really want to make sure that I'm probably going to change the color a little bit so it stands out. My goodness, everything is so slow here. All right, so how are we doing? Did we get our picture placed? We feeling good? Having major issues? Okay. All right, Teresa, I'll go ahead and unmute you. It doesn't seem like it's, oh, there we go. All right,
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I have 2 columns now, and my picture did not fill the whole screen like yours did.
So you're just going to grab these white little anchor points with your selection tool, and you're going to extend them and then fill the frame
all the way to the
Yep.
all the way to the outside edge.
Yeah, the picture's not going to naturally go to the edge of the page. You're going to have to make it. So you just grab the anchor points, stretch it to the bleed line, and then you're going to go to fill
the
frame.
bleed line of the outermost point.
Yeah, you're going to,
Outermost
yep,
line.
the bleed line, the red one. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, and then you're going to go to your object, fitting, fill frame proportionately.
Okay, so I don't have to do Control-Shift then.
No, not unless you need to.
Okay. All right.
Does that help?
I've, and you said fill frame proportionally. That's what you said.
Yep. So once it's already stretched to the place that you want it to be, placed where you want it to be, then you can fill the frame proportionately.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Does that help where you're at?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Any other questions, guys? Now's the time to ask. Are we good? All right. So I decided to kind of put a little coupon looking frame, little dotted frame around this, and I want it centered. Now, a few things I want to point out. There's some things I'm going to be looking for. Because I have my text in this box and I'm putting a frame around it, you want to make sure that your text is centered within the frame. And if it's too, I'm going to be looking for whether or not this is going to be touching the top of the line, is the same. So like this, I don't want to see text touching the frame edge. I want it to be centered within that frame. And see how my smart guide turned on? And it's like, yep, that's the center. All right, so we want to make sure that it has even amount of space between the text and the frame on the top and the bottom. So on all four sides, we want to make sure it looks even, okay? So there's my little BOGO offer. I've got my picture, I've got my little offer. Now you don't have to do this dotted frame. You could simply remove it and that would be just fine. And depending on the logo, you want to be kind of sensitive to the color scheme of your menu. You don't want to do some outrageous colors that don't have anything to do with the logo, because you're eventually going to want to put the logo on you either put it on the front or the back. Okay. So now I'm going to move on. So now I'm here on this step. Using your character or paragraph style sheets, add a headline, buy one, get one half off. We've done that. And then let's see, you can change the color of the text so it's suitable for the design depending on the kind of busy layout or not. And then we're going to be moving on to page 2. So with page 1 done, and on this example, I went ahead and added a logo. So I'm going to take my logo and I can add it to here if I want. Now notice how this logo is not really going to work with the red background. So I can place it here at the bottom right of the page. So what we're doing is we're creating balance. The logo is not the star of the show, the picture of the food is. So the largest element on your page should be the picture of the food, just like we have here. Then with the offer is going to be the next most important. Is why is this picture of food so important? Well, because there's an offer that goes with it. This is a call to action. This is going to get people in the door. Whether or not you coupon or not, things like this get our attention. Sales get our attention. So this is an important feature of our postcard. So that should be the second largest item on the page. So you want the headline to be big. Then the logo is more artistic. It's more of an element that will add some texture and value to our postcard. So I'm going to place it right here. I can kind of see it's a little hard to read the R in that dark crack. So this will create balance because I have a lot of heavy text on the top left. I have a big picture in the center and there's nothing at the bottom right. It would look off center if I had it all on the left, and it would look off center if I had it up here. So I'm going to kind of place it down here so it's kind of like a tic-tac-toe, like a diagonal line where everything kind of, the eye kind of flows. I can add a little wash behind that logo if it's hard to read, or I can reposition it on a more lighter part of the wood. So I can kind of move the picture around a little bit. You want to make sure that your logo is placed at the most legible part of the picture. And it might be the top here that might, where it needs to be placed. And you can play around with placement, but I prefer the offer to be at the top, not the bottom. The logo can be at the bottom if it needs to be. Or you can make it smaller if you need to fit it right there. Okay? All right, so that's page 1. We're going to move on to page 2. Are there any questions? All right. So now we're here on this part on page 2. We're going to insert the copy that we downloaded. So what you're going to do is grab your type tool. I'm going to draw a box. I'm going to go to File, Place, and then go find that downloaded folder that you made sure you downloaded. And look, I think it was, oh, it's a zip folder, so you're going to have to open it first. So let me go open it real quick. There we go. All right, so now you can go to File, Place. Oh, nope, that's not it. Sorry. Let's see, where's my downloads folder? I throw it onto my desktop. Give me just 1 second. Okay. There we go. And grab the Word document. Hit Open. Perfect. So now you've got the text imported into your postcard. I'm going to just pull it off to the side because I'm not going to want all of it in my one text box. All right, there's a lot of different things that you can do. I'm going to close out the share real quick. So as far as design is concerned, this is going to be up to you what you want it to look like. There's a lot of different ways that you can approach it. Because you have a heavy picture on a full bleed picture on the front cover, the back cover doesn't need any images. You don't really need to make a big heavy background. We are also not mailing this postcard, so you don't need to leave room for postage or an address. So what we can do, it gives us a little bit more freedom of what we're allowed to do. So I'm going to take that same red bar that I had on the front, and this is going to be repetition that I'm going to be implementing. I'm going to fill it with red. Yes, that's right, Debbie. So this is a 2-page project. 2 pages. Great question. All right, any questions where we're at now? All right, perfect. Okay, so this might be a good place to take our 10-minute break. When we come back, we'll start page 2 and we'll jump into how to do the newsletter. But what I want you to do is kind of play around with placement a little bit. I'd like to see what you come up with, and this will allow you to get page 1 set up. You can, on the photo side, we've already done buy one, get one half off. This is the mailing side, which is the back end, so we only need this part. And we're going to need the logo. I have the logo on the front cover, but we don't. I'm going to just put, you can have it in both places. It doesn't matter. I'm not sure where I'm going to put this logo yet. I'm just going to stick it here at the bottom for now until I know more. Then we're going to need the address, the buy one, get one half off special, and then we've got some more information to format. Good question. So on the buy one, get one, I used the rectangle box, the rectangle frame, and then I put a type box over it. You see that? So there's 2. So I've got my rectangle frame box, and then I've got my type. So I kind of layered them a little bit. Okay. All right. So are there any questions before we go to break? right, if there's no questions, I'm going to let you guys play around with the back part so that you do have questions when I get back so we can troubleshoot them. And we'll go ahead and close this out. And we'll come back in 10 minutes and we'll start assignment 3, which is going to be the newsletter. So hopefully this gets you a jump start on the assignment because there is a lot going on. All right, see you guys in 10 minutes. All right, so how's it going? Is everyone feeling comfortable with our postcard layout? So I'll show you a little bit about what I've done with my layout here. So what I've done is I've been using the paragraph styles that we imported for the body copy headers, and I put you're going to need to put the address here, so you're going to need to pull it from the other document for your restaurant. But once you have it, I just aligned it to the, let's see, right justified alignment here, so that it balances out. I've got a very text-heavy left column, so I wanted to add the logo and the address here on the right-hand side to give some balance to the design. I even threw a little coupon dotted line code here around this offer to make it set apart, make it feel more like an offer. So this is my layout. Again, you don't have to do this specific layout, but you do need to kind of format it so that it looks like so not everything is the same size. So things stand out. Notice how I bolded the offer in between, and I made this fine print very small. That's not the important stuff, so we want to make sure it's small. Okay, yeah, and it looks like everyone's doing good. And Teresa, you need some help? Sure. I'll stop the share. Go ahead and share your screen, and what I'll do is unmute your mic. Okay, Teresa, you can ask your question.
Can you, this is what I had, and I click off of this, and it does not, this background and my text box.
So the pink that you're seeing, that pink highlighted part, means that it can't find the font times. So whatever you're using, it can't find that font. So you'll need to just put give it a new font family. And that should fix your problem.
Uh-oh.
But I would not use Comic Sans. That's kind of one of the no-no fonts to use. So I would pick something traditional like Arial, Helvetica, or even use the fonts that were provided to you in the style sheets. So the header that they gave you, I would stick with. Did you import them?
I tried.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, so they're using, do you have Helvetica? Let me see. What are they using? Let me check mine. You should have Helvetica. Go up. No Helvetica? Okay, can you try maybe Futura or Arial? Do you have any of those?
No, ma'am.
Do you have Arial?
Let's see.
There you go. You got Arial. So I would probably use an Arial bold, maybe.
I didn't even have it selected. Great.
Yeah, I'd just pick one of those. And then just adjust the font size to make it fit in your square. Yeah, so that pink highlighted part, if you ever see that, it means that it can't find the font you're telling it to use. So that usually means either, for me, I enter it in wrong because I manually type it a lot, but it could just mean you just don't have that font on your computer. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Glad I could help. Those are good questions because there's a lot of people that probably are struggling with that watching this at home. Just kind of ask those questions. You really are helping other people. Okay, so let me mute you, Teresa, so we can take off the background. Okay. All right, so next thing that we need to go over. Let's go back to the slide. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing as far as layouts concerned. Let me share this one. All right, so let's talk about hierarchy a little bit because you are going to be graded on this and you might have even received some feedback about this before. Okay, before I jump into it, there's another question. You keep finding a chain link symbol around your work. What does that mean? That just means things are connected, Debbie. Would you like to share your screen so that I can double check that. If you see a chain link symbol, it usually means things are connected, like a text box. Text boxes are connected if you've set it up that way. But if you'd like to share your screen, let me know and I can close out of my slideshow.
For some reason, it won't share.
Oh, yeah, I've got to close my screen out. I wasn't sure if you were going to do it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's fine. Click on your box. I think it's your logo. Yeah, it's just showing. So hover over it, hover over that symbol with your mouse, hover over that chain symbol. See, it's just telling you that you can open your links panel. So it's just saying this is a link, it's an image. So if you go to Window and then click on Links, it'll show you the links you're using. Do you see your logo up there and your smoothies? Now, if anything changes, so if you were to go into Photoshop and make some changes to those, it would then show you like an exclamation mark next to that link, and you would need to refresh it and or update it. But it's just showing you that it isn't a link. It is a link in your links panel. So that's all that means. Don't worry about that. Does that help? Oh, I think you might have been muted. Let's see. Does that help, Debbie?
Yes.
Okay, and then just so you know, that image has to extend to edge of the page to the bleed line.
So like right here?
Yeah, the red line. Oh, even further, the red line.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yep, it's got to be a full.
So it all
coverage.
goes on there.
Yep, full coverage on the first
Okay.
page. And you
I
can
can
just
fix
use
that.
your fill frame proportionately to fill it once you've stretched your rectangle box.
Okay, I can fix that.
Yep, no problem. Good job. It's looking good. You've got all those important elements on your page. Okay, so what I loved about what I just saw on Debbie's page is her logo was nice and small, which is a perfect transition into what we're going to be talking about. So you will be graded on this. I wanted to show you before I jumped into the layout. We're doing ad hierarchy. It's basically layout hierarchy. Postcards are like an ad where you've got very specific information. You usually have a logo or the company's name. You've got the text or the offer, and you've got a picture, something to draw them in or something to associate the offer with. So here on this example, do you see what element is the most important? What word is the most important here? See this orange box? Yeah, head, exactly. And why would you assume head is the most important? Anybody? So it can be seen because it's the largest element on the page, right? It's the largest text, which means it's the most important. So we want to put the most important thing on the page, make that the largest. It's the star of the show. Now, what would be the second most important thing? Any guesses? The subhead, exactly. The next line of text is the second most important because it is the second in size. So as we move down the page, notice how your copy and logo and then the phone number, everything is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's a good rule of thumb as the eye moves down the page, the elements at the bottom of the page are less important. Therefore, they are usually smaller. So this is kind of where we're getting at though, Debbie. So in this case, for our postcard, our logo is not the star of the show. So it would be one of those very small elements on the page, right? And it would be toward the bottom. So this is what I mean by hierarchy. If I say there's no ad hierarchy here, there's no layout hierarchy, what I'm saying is everything's big or everything's small. Nothing stands out. So I am confused as the reader. What's supposed to be important here? What what should stand out. So it's your job as the designer to make your elements on your page be different sizes so that you're communicating to me what to read first, what's most important, what's the message. Okay, so that's your job as a designer, and you got to make it look pretty. So that's why they pay us the big bucks, because we not only make it look nice, we grab attention and we get the message out loud and clear. So on your postcard, you're given an offer. That offer is the second largest thing on the page. Next to the image, it should be the most important message. Therefore, should it be very, very small? Very, very small at the bottom? No, right? It's going to be large and in charge at the very top where it can easily be seen. So just think of that as you're placing things on your page. What's important? What size should it be? We've learned a little bit about contrast. I want you to focus on, if I'm putting text on my picture, can you see it? Can you read it? And here's a test. Step away from your computer about 10 steps. Get about 10 steps away from your computer and see if you can read what's on that offer. If the background is too busy or the colors are too similar, you're not going to be able to read it. So you need to make sure that you adjust for that, okay? That there's proper contrast and that you have a clean background. Because my Chinese food dish was kind of busy and the grain wood behind the dish was very busy, I had to add a colored box to it because that was the only way you were going to be able to read the message very clear. So I had to kind of adjust for it. I couldn't just put it on my picture. So I want you to think like that. Think like a designer. How can I make this look nice by still accomplishing the goal of making it readable and legible? All right. So again, add hierarchy. What is the most important message here? Where do your eyes go first? The picture, yes, but within the picture, what do your eyes read? Yes, your eyes hear. So without it telling you where to look exactly, your eye automatically reads the largest thing on the page first, right? So you'll get into ad design, and that's a whole other animal, but it's interesting that you'll find that you only have like a second, a split second, a ridiculously small amount of time to grab someone's attention when it comes to ad design. And so you've got to be able to make things stand out. So look how they've used size and even the difference in font styles. It's the same font family, but it's a different font family, I apologize. They're using a contrast in fonts here to even create more contrast and to create design, but it's directing the eye where to go on the page. So your eyes see the largest headline, then here is the next line that you read, and then you read, isn't that fascinating? So your eyes are being directed by the designer of where they want you to look. So same idea here. What do we read first? Well, we read the biggest message on the top, right? Read me first, read me next, and then when you got more time, please read me. So it's the same concept when you get on page 2 with that text that you need to include. It doesn't need to be large. In fact, it can be small, but we want it to look nice, and we want to still be able to make things stand out. So make sure you use hierarchy on your page. Use size, use contrast in color. Make sure that you're using all of these design principles to be able to create an effective message. All right, I had an exercise that I wanted to do, but we may not have time for it, so we're going to kind of have to skip it. But let me show you. So here's a sentence: may your Christmas be bright and merry. If I were to ask you to make Christmas, the word bright, and the word merry stand out in some way, how would you as a designer make it stand out? I want you to kind of think about that before I give you the answer. But going along with choosing your fonts, you really want to make sure you stick with maybe a clean sans serif font or a serif font, but no Comic Sans, no Apple Chancery, none of those fonts that kind of have character to it because we really want to stay traditional and clean and contemporary for these designs. When you start using fonts that are a little too frilly or have a little too much, it really hinders the readability, but it also cheapens the design. So as a designer, we want to make sure we're using classic fonts, okay? So stick with your traditional fonts that you've been learning about. And here's an example. You can mix sans serif and serif very nicely by using them sparingly, just like I've done. In my design, I used a big, large headline, and then we used a small font. But in this case, they used a serif font, so you could also do that. I know Starlight Bistro uses a serif font, so you could kind of use contrast that way. You can mix and match weights. So this is all one font family. They're using, I believe it's Myriad Pro. They're using one font family, but they bolded the top line. They italicized the second line, and then they used a regular font for font number for the paragraph here. So this is a great way to add contrast without using a ton of new fonts. In fact, I say stick to 1, 2 at the most. All right, so here's contrasting display and neutral typefaces. So stick with something neutral. I guess that's the word I'm going for here. The rule is less is more. Try not to use more than two typefaces, okay? And then when to break it. Remember your message. Make sure that things don't get broken up too much. And then let's see, here's the answer. May your Christmas be bright and merry. So this is a lot more interesting to look at than this, right? That's kind of boring. But because we used contrasting fonts, we used size, we're making things stand out. So this is the idea behind your postcard design. So I want you to be thinking about, how can I add hierarchy? What am I going to tell them to read first, then next, and then as things get smaller and smaller on the page? All right, getting some questions here, so I'm going to go back here. Let's see, Alexandria, you said make the font red, bold, or italic. Yes, exactly. You could use color definitely to add contrast. That's a huge one. Or you could have underlined them. And then Teresa says change the color font for Christmas, change the other ones bold or italic. Exactly. That's exactly how you could have approached it as well. And then Debbie says, can you use the same fonts that you used in your menu? In fact, I encourage you to. So yes, Debbie, that's a great question. We want it to be consistent all around. So you're designing for the restaurant, not just for the menu, but their postcard too. So you want things to look very similar. Okay, unless I said no on a font, go for it. All right, so I'll close this out. I'm going to show you an important thing. We're going to move out of the postcard now, and we're going to go right into the newsletter design. Before I do, I want to show you how to set up baseline grids. I'm going to have this here so that you can watch the recording and you have the step-by-step, or you can take a screenshot of it if you need. But what we're going to be doing is setting up a baseline grid. What that means is it's going to, you know how in school you had that notebook paper with all the blue lines going across? That's what we're going to be doing. We're essentially going to be setting up a page that looks like notebook paper so that our text and boxes of text line up on the same lines at the same horizontal plane, okay? We don't want mismatched lines of text, because then that's what separates us from a professional. So we want to make sure that our text and lines are clean and lined up. It's all about alignment with design, okay? All right, and I'll step you through these steps, but I wanted to show you on the recording. Align your text to the baseline grid. It's all going to start with how you set up your document. So there's 4 easy steps. Step 1 is to open a document in InDesign. We're going to open up a new document. So go ahead and do that. This is going to be a new document for our assignment 3, the newsletter design. And I will step you through how to do this. I just wanted to show you the step on the slide. So open a document. Under the margins, select your border from the top as you wish, okay? Step 2, you're going to select the type tool and you're going to draw a box, fill it with some text, or in this case, you could fill it with whatever text is provided to you in the Word document. You're going to want to go to View, Grids and Guides, and click on Show Baseline Grid, because that's going to be pretty important. Step 3, we're going to select our text with the type tool. We're going to go to Window, select Type in Tables, click on Paragraph, and make sure that your baseline grid is set up. You'll find the same option when you create a new paragraph style. I know this is going fast. I just want to make sure that you have this on the recording. Go to your InDesign preferences. You're going to select grids. There are two places that we're going to need to adjust, and your increment every is going to need to match the leading of your font, and I will show you how to set that up as well. Your baseline grid will adjust in InDesign at the same time that your text aligns to your baseline grid, and it's really kind of cool to watch. So we want to make sure that we have it up. Then we're going to get into how to set up a master page and get things placed on our pages. All right, here are the steps for the master pages. And then we went over how to do dot leaders in InDesign during week 2, so please refer to that. But here is a step 1 through 6, just so that you know how to go. So are there any questions? I know that was kind of quick. I'm going to stop the share and go into InDesign. We're going to shift gears. We're going to get into our newsletter design. So here's our notebook paper. Super fun. All right, so I'm going to pull up, and I encourage you to do the same. Go to your assignment 3 on the course website. So over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be creating a newsletter using these great tools in conjunction with the tools that we've learned to use in week 1 and in week 2. So we're going to be learning a few new tools this time, how to lay out text and images. For the next 2 weeks assignments, though, you're going to be building a 4-page newsletter, just like I have here. Here's page 1. Let me change the view so you can see it. Here's page 1. Here's page 2. This is all you're going to be doing for week 3. During week 4, for our final project, we will finalize it, and you'll do page 3 and page 4. Okay? Most of this information is already provided to, well, all of it's provided to you. It's just a matter of copying the example that's given to you, okay? So there's going to be a few things we're going to need set up. So I will show you how to do this. So let's start by creating a new document. Is everybody ready? Give me a smiley face. Go to File, New, Document. Let's get our document set up so you're already one step ahead. All right, this is a traditional 8.5 by 11, so we're going to go 8.5 by 11. Our unit of measurement is set to inches, and our orientation will be portrait. We will deselect facing pages. We do not want to check that box, so that's a no. Start on page 1. Now for our columns, we need it to be 3 columns. For our gutter, we need it to be 1/4 inch, so 0.25 inches. For our margins, we need this to be 3/4 inch, so that's going to be 0.75. Want to know something cool? If you want to know if you don't know the decimal or the fraction or vice versa, you could just type in 3/4 inch, and it will convert it to decimal. Kind of cool, huh? So it does the math for you, which is the beauty of InDesign. I love it. So we've got 0.75 inches on our margins. Let's see, oh, and this will vary. So we're going to uncheck. We're not going to make the settings the same. We're going to have to go in and manually change it. So the only margin that is going to be 0.75 will be the bottom margin. The others will be 0.5. So top, left, and right will be 0.5. All right, so the only one that's different is that 3/4 is going to be the bottom one. So make sure that your margins look like this. The bleed, I don't think they gave us a bleed, so I'm just going to keep it the same. We need this to say 4 pages, so pages right here will be 4. All right, does everyone have this set up? 8.5 by 11, 4 pages, start on page 1. We have 3 columns, 1/4 inch gutter, 1/2 inch top left and right margin, and a 3/4 of an inch bottom margin. That's the only one that's different. I went ahead and kept my bleeding slug. It doesn't ask for it, but I would just keep it anyways. And then I would just hit create. Now that our document is set up, it should look like this. You should have 3 distinct columns separated by a purple margin line. See that magenta margin line there? Our bleed line is the red one, so all images should extend. Okay. All right, so now we're going to learn how to set up a master page. So I'm going to close out of this and we'll go into the grids and baseline in just a minute. Click out of this. So make sure that your Pages panel is open. You can access it by going to Window and selecting Pages. Make sure that is check marked, okay? When your Pages panel opens, you're going to go to the master. See, there's an A master right here. We're going to double click on it, and it will take us to it. This is our master page. You'll know you're on your master page when it's highlighted in blue right here. And then we're going to add a few things. You need to include, so right here on the website, we're on a folio. We need an auto page numbering, date, and name of publication. So it's going to look like this. Right down here, I've added Student Matters. That's the name of the document, the date, and the page number. All right, and this is how you insert it. So I'm going to go back to my A master page. I'm going to grab a type tool. I'm going to click and drag a text box below my margin line. This is kind of the only time that you would have something go below your margin line, because this is going to be my folio, which is the page number. I'm going to type in Student Matters, which is the name of the document, and I'm going to hit Tab a few times until I get over here to the right side. And on the right side, I need the date, which is we're May 2018, and then we need the numbering system. So I'm going to just kind of divide it. Now, this is where we need to put the page number. You're not going to manually hit 1, 2, 3. We are going to set up an auto page numbering system. So with your blinking cursor where you want the page number to go, you're going to go up to the screen, type, insert special character. You're going to go to markers, current page number. Do you see that? When you click that, it will automatically put a letter in its place, just like you see here. Oop. So do you see this A that magically appeared? That means it's going to, that's the number placeholder. That's how I've set up the auto numbering page system. So if I go to page 1, you'll see it says 1 there. If I go to page 2, now you see there's a 2 there. If I go to page 4, there's a 4 there. So what it's doing is it's the placeholder and it's the auto page numbering system. So that went a little fast. Does anyone need help setting that up? You can even get creative, and I'm going to go ahead and bold it. And I'm going to change, this was way back in the day. Change the date here, make it bold. I colored Student Matters to match the logo. So this is what it looks like. You can even add a page divider, like add a line if you wanted to here at the bottom. Hold down Shift when you click and drag. And I'm just going to move this down. Up, and then I'm going to grab my line. I'm going to give it a stroke. I'm going to do dark blue. Just like that. Okay, so when I go to page 1, look, it's all the same. It's there. When I go to page 2, it's there. This dotted line, this dotted border around my text box means that's a master page element. The point of master pages is to be able to make one change to one page and have it applied to several others. This makes a ton of sense when you're laying out a 100-page magazine or a 100-page or 1,000-page book, where you wouldn't want to go manually make those changes 1,000 times, would you? And it wouldn't be consistent each time either. So we need to make sure that the elements that we want to be on each page are consistently placed in the same spot, the same font, the same color, so you don't have to keep setting this up 100 times. That's the point, is master pages save you time. So please try to get good at it and remember those steps, because that will save you a ton of time in the end. Now, say you're on page 1 and it's the cover and you don't want an element on the page. Instead of going to your A master to change it, you would just change it on that page. So you would right click and hit override all master page items. And now that makes it editable. So now I can go in and I can either delete it or move it. But that allows me to make changes to those master pages, okay, master page items just for that page. All right, any questions about master pages before we jump into the baseline grid? All right, if no questions, we'll go ahead and learn to set up the baseline grid. So what I want you to do is, in this new document, grab your type tool. I want you to click and drag a text box. I want you to go to type, fill with placeholder text, or you can place your document from the download folder that you just downloaded. Now you'll notice that as we have multiple columns of text, we want our lines of text to line up on the same horizontal ruler, okay? Now the way we need to do that is tell InDesign to do that for us automatically. So what we're going to do is, with our text box selected, we are going to check the leading value of our text. And up here it says I'm using Min Pro, the font size is 12, the leading is 14.4. That's the value that we need to remember, 14.4. It's quite a few steps, so we're going to go to InDesign, drop-down menu, Preferences, then click on Grids. Your Preferences panel will open up, and here is where our baseline grid gets set up. You can choose a color for it. You need to tell it to start about half an inch from the top of the page, but our increment every needs to match our leading value. So remember, it was 14.4. So whatever leading value you have, you'll need to put in that increment every box, okay? You'll want to set the view threshold kind of low so that it can be visible. I'm going to set it to about 25. You want to be able to, you can, depending on whether or not you want to see the grids, you can uncheck grids in back or keep it selected. It's up to you. All right, everything else will stay the same. You don't need to set up the document grids, but you do need to make sure the baseline grid is set up. So if I hit OK, then I need to go to View if you don't see anything, and go to Grids and Guides, Show Baseline Grid. So now I've got my lined paper, and if I zoom up here, you'll notice that my text isn't quite falling on the bottom of that blue line like I wanted to. So I need to go to Window, type in Tables, and open up my Paragraph panel. With my Paragraph panel open, I'm going to click on this bottom right, Align to Baseline Grid. And as I do that, notice how it snaps right onto that blue baseline, just beautifully. Okay, so now when I'm drawing my text boxes or connecting my text box, everything is going to fall very nicely on that blue baseline grid. So everything lines up just perfectly. All right, so what I want you to do is try to do that. If you have questions, come to the multi-session and I can help you set it up. I will do a separate demo on how to have this set up so that you can watch it and you don't have to go through the 2-hour course to do that. But I just want to make sure that you've got that set up. Then we're going to use our style sheets for headers. We're going to use we're going to set up a first paragraph. So we're going to open up our style sheets. I grab my oh, that's not a style sheet. Windows styles, paragraph styles. We're going to add new. Paragraph style 1 is now going to be called drop cap. And this is where we're going to go into our basic character formats, okay? You're going to, depending on what font you want, I'm going to keep everything at Minion Pro 12. The leading stays the same. Regular is fine. But down here at the bottom, I'm going to go to drop caps and nested styles. This drop cap, I'm going to make about 3 or 4 lines. We'll have to look at the example. Let's see. Just kind of eyeball it to see how many lines it drops. And you only want one character. A line to the left, and then hit OK. So now when I highlight this letter T, I'm going to click on drop cap, and it automatically creates a drop cap for me. Just like that. Kind of cool, huh? So that is, that's what a drop cap is. And then you can set up subheads and body copy. So you're going to need style sheets. You're going to need drop cap. You're going to need subheads. You're going to need body copy. And you're going to need headers. All right, you can set all those up just like we've learned last week how to do that. All right, the last thing that you're going to need to know. Learned how to do baseline grids. We learned how to set up the style sheets. We learned tab leaders last week. All right, so that is about it. Do you guys have any questions before we jump into our lecture? Then it's just a matter of placing elements on the page. So I'm going to go to my pages panel, go to page 1, and this is where you're going to place your logo. You're going to place your header. You're going to place your image. Now here's something that I want to show you. When you're placing your image, if you click on your image and go to text wrap, right over here, go to object. Let's see, where is it? I think you right click on it. Let's try right clicking. I know where the icon is. I'm trying to find where the manual. Oh, it's not here. Where is it? I don't know where to, well, if you can see on my screen, I'll show you where it is. So this, you want to have a no text wrap or wraparound object shape. But if you click text wrap, this will allow you to wrap the text around the image. Okay. I'm reading your comment, Teresa. You're welcome to come. All right, so you can add a text wrapped around that image so that the text doesn't overlap onto that image. You want to also be able to make sure that your columns are the same size. I don't want to see any white gaps here. I want you to try to make it the same, kind of make the lines of text end at the same point. So see that? There's an even column there. Table of contents, you'll just have to add your tab leaders. But this is just a matter of looking at the example that you're given and placing the objects on the page. All right, and then placing the images. We all know how to place images, right? We kind of want to make sure. So here's some things you're going to be graded on. Let me grab my red marker. Okay, I want to make sure that the line of text ends where the end of the picture ends. That your text is on the same baseline grid. Everything lines up. So if I were to draw a ruler at the bottom of each text line, a line of text, that your page would end there too, or your picture. So I'm going to move this so it all ends at the same point. okay? I'm also going to be checking for is there an even amount of space on the left-hand side as there is on the right-hand side between the picture and the edge of the page. Is there space between your text and your image? I don't want to see text boxes, and I'll zoom in to show you what I mean. I don't want to see text touching the image at all. I want to see good amount of elbow room. You know when you're on an airplane and you just don't have enough elbow room because everyone's squished? Okay, I don't want that to be the case here. I want you to give this the first class treatment, okay? I want there to be enough leg room, elbow room around images and other objects. And notice how we've set up our columns too. You have columns of space, so I don't want to see text, columns of text touching each other. I want you to use those natural columns that were given to you. So I'm going to hide this baseline grid view real quick so that you can see what I'm talking about for the grids and guides. Hide baseline grid. So these purple magenta lines, these little double lines, this is indicating where your columns start and stop. So use that as a guide when you're placing your text boxes and you're placing your images, okay? One last thing I wanted to show you how to do was how to use, to do bullets. So I'll go up here. I'll show you how to set up bullets. Let me hide this. If this ever gets on your nerves, you can always hide the baseline grid once you've set it up. But if I wanted to add bullets, what I'm going to do is grab the text that I want to bullet. And if I go to, you will need layers. Yes, you'll have to set those up, but I'm not demoing how to do that. You will need layers, just like you'll need a layer for text, you'll need a layer for images, a layer for logos and masthead. Definitely. And that's what will keep you from moving things around. You can lock things in place. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to add bullets. If you highlight your text and if you go to Window, type in Tables, Paragraph. Under your paragraph settings, there should be a place to do it, and I'm not seeing it. Let me see. Where are you at? Again, it's right here under your paragraph control settings, the bulleted list, but I'm trying to see where you find it manually. Everything is such muscle memory that I hardly know where to find it for real. It should be there. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's in your options that you can't see. So with your paragraph panel open, these 4 lines that you see at the top right, this little icon, if you open it and go down to bullets and numbering, it'll pull up your bullets and numbering. So obviously you want the bullet character, and then you can preview it, and then you can hit OK. And then if you go to your paragraph control settings or paragraph formatting controls and click on bulleted list, this will allow you to make a bulleted list. So if you hit enter, it now will allow you to make a bulleted list. Let me go to this here. There you go. And now once you have your bullet, so whenever you hit enter, it'll create a new bullet. And then if you want to adjust the space between the bullet and the word, you can just highlight your bulleted list. And then by clicking right here, the top, or even in your paragraph panel, you can adjust it. This can adjust the space from the edge of the page and your bullet, or you can adjust the distance between the bullet and your words. Just like that. So that's how you format bullets. So I want you to try to eyeball the example and see, get as close as you can to how to add bullets on. That would be on page 2. They use a few bullets there. Okay. Are there any questions? That's it for class today. We didn't get to the design elements, but hopefully you guys still participate in the discussion and talk to us a little bit about that. Are you feeling confident? If not, come on Thursday. Come see me. This will be one of the last chances that you'll have to get some one-on-one tutoring. So I'd love to see you guys. I'd love to see a full multi-session. It will not be recorded, but it is come and go as you wish, and it's kind of open door policy. So if you've got any questions or want to just come and work, it's up to you. All right. I hope to see everyone there. Thank you for coming today. There's a lot to cover. Don't be overwhelmed. Email me if you have questions. And please don't wait until Thursday. If you need help, go see the Student Success Center. They're there far more often than most schedules, they can accommodate a lot of schedules. So they're even open on the weekends for those that work, and they're open late for those who are doing work late. So please check them out, and then contact our learning coach if you want some more one-on-one assistance and our schedules just don't align, okay? But I will see you all on Thursday, and thank you for coming. We'll see you. Have a great night.